Thank you. Director Chiesa,
I'm here.
Fugazi, present. Gonzalez,
Present.
Albert, alternate Valero,
Present.
Pedroso, Valdez, Vice Chair Burgess,
Here.
Vice Chair Hume,
Here.
Chair Verboen.
Here.
Thank you. We have quorum.
Okay, thank you very much. At this time, would you all please rise for a pledge of allegiance? Ready, salute.
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very good. At this time, we'll go to public comments. And public comments, we allow 3 minutes per comment. Do we have any written comments?
We have one written comment from Michael Barnbaum.
Okay.
Sorry, not a written comment, but a speaker in person.
Okay. And anybody have their hands up in the chambers that would like to speak?
Not inside, or one inside, and then we have a few online.
Okay. We'll start with Mike Barnbaum. Morning, Mike.
Good morning, Michael Barnbaum, Sacramento County. So Sacramento County's in the house in person. Thank you to our representative, Supervisor Hume, for coming in person too. Appreciate it. Happy New Year, everyone. So I came back because I'm concerned about what I have been reading from people that ride the train and are making comments on the posts about upcoming events and promotions through the Gold Runner account. And I've become very concerned that even on the train today, a person walked by the conductor and said, where can I go grab a cup of coffee? You can't. And knowing that, I made my own at home and even packed a food bag I would typically pack for work. I think that this year we're going to need to have a lot of goal setting. I know we have a big item coming up on item 5, and I think a lot of what I'm going to talk about right now is probably going to be on that. So I can continue it then, but under one of the later items, I want to welcome the new executive director from the LoSan group, who's familiar with business class service and the market side cafe, something every rider relishes between San Diego and San Luis Obispo. And I've had many experiences with that. It is awesome. And I think one of the goals we need to have should come from the experience that's coming in the room and will be introduced later in the meeting as his first meeting. And welcome to the Gold Runner Board of Directors and the Altamont Corridor Express service to here in Northern California. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Barnbaum. Next person.
Thank you. I have an online participant, Jeff G. If Paul, I will allow to speak, and you have 3 minutes.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and the board. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hey, my name is Japjit Singh Upal, lifetime resident of Merced County, and have the privilege of serving on the city council in my hometown of Livingston. This is my first time joining one of the meetings of the authority, so virtually. Nice to meet everyone. Hope I can get there in person at some point. Wanted to come on today. I see that the business plan is in the agenda, so we'll be excited to see what's coming out of that, but also to express my support for the extension of ACE coming down to Merced County and connecting with high-speed rail. Was as disappointed as anybody in our region when we learned that the train would not be coming down anytime soon. per se, but at the same time, I do think it's important to take full responsibility for not coming on and advocating for that previously. This is something that when I got elected last year, I learned that we were in the plan, and I think we were all kind of just expecting um, things to move forward to get to us at some point. We have local tax dollars through a county tax measure allocated for the design and the construction of that downtown Ace train station at some point. Um, and so we are wanting to be engaged with this. We want to partner with the authority on this. Obviously disappointed that this comment is coming after the fact. And again, take responsibility for that on our side. But I definitely want to connect with the authority, with the rail committee, with staff to find ways to bring this to Livingston. The sentiment of disappointment, I understand from folks near me, but I don't want to take the mentality of this is never going to get here. I want to find a way to get this done. And I think a lot of folks in our town want that as well. So here to reiterate my support for ACE to come down to us at some point. And I would like to connect with folks at the authority moving forward to have conversations on what that could look like in the coming years and what it's going to take to make that feasible.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
if I may, Mr. Mayor, don't bear the burden on your shoulders. You were well represented by Supervisor Chiesa and Director Leo Zuber of the Rail Commission and others. And we have not forgotten, we have not sacrificed, and we will get trains down to Livingston as soon as we possibly can.
Very good. Well said. Do we have anybody else online or in the audience?
No other members online or in the audience.
Okay, well, thank you very much. We'll move on. At this time, we'll move on to the consent calendar as presented. Anybody like to pull an item or just vote on it as one?
Move to approve.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you.
Is there any questions from the audience?
Seeing no hands raised and no members of the audience.
Very good. Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you. I would like to note that Supervisor Pedroza has joined at 10:09 p.m. Alrighty, Director Chiesa,
Aye.
Fugazi,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Alternate Valero,
Yes.
Pedroza,
Yes.
Vice Chair Burgess,
Yes.
Vice Chair Hume,
Aye.
Chair Baboon.
Yes,
Thank you. Motion passes.
thank you very much. At this time, we'll move on to item 5 for San Joaquin Joint Powers Authority 2026 Annual Business Plan Preview. And we have Momo. Good morning, Momo.
Good morning. Thank you so much, Chair. Good morning, everybody. My name is Momo Tamaoki. I'm the Deputy Director of Planning, Grants, and Programming. And as Chair indicated, I'm here to present the preview of 2026 San Joaquin Joint Powers Authority's annual business plan today. So the primary purpose of the annual business plan is for the authority to lay out our intentions and plans for the next 2 state fiscal years for us to manage, operate, administer, and market the Gold Runner service, and to request the funding necessary to do so. The authority has to submit the draft annual business plan by April 1st and the final draft by June 30th to the Secretary of California State Transportation Agency. And the annual business plan is also reviewed and approved by the state and used to develop the annual appropriation request to the state legislature. At a minimum, the annual business plan must include a report on the recent and historical performance of the service, an overall operating plan, short-term and long-term capital improvement program, funding requirements for the upcoming fiscal year. And for this year's annual business plan, instead of including a separate chapter for an action plan, we are treating the entire annual business plan as an action plan with specific performance goals and objectives. In addition, the annual business plan must also document service improvements both for the rail service and the thruway bus service to provide the planned level of service, operating plans, and consideration of other service expansions and enhancement. The draft 2026 annual business plan will be released for public review on March 6th, and the official draft will be presented for review and approval at the March San Joaquin Joint Powers Authority Board meeting. There are a few key areas of focus I'd like to highlight today. The first one is called Uniform Performance Standards, also known as UPS. This is like a criterion in which our services success is being measured by Caltrans. They are specifically looking at usage, cost efficiency, and on-time performance. But in partnership with Caltrans, we are in the process of establishing a more outcome-oriented UPS, and our draft 2026 annual business plan will reflect that. We are also looking at return on investment. So we have been informed by Caltrans and state in general that for the next several years, our financial resources will be very limited. So every time we are proposing changes or funding requests for new initiatives or projects, it really should result in some sort of gains or benefits, such as direct revenue generations, cost savings, efficiency gains, passenger satisfaction, or enhanced regulatory compliance. And last but not least, we are taking this very collaborative one team approach within our agency and also with the external. So we are really asking everybody to work together and work on our plans, and then also planning and delivering of all of our projects in one shared vision team approach, so that we can prevent delay and mitigate risks and really take advantage of teamwork. The draft business plan will be much shorter than previous annual business plan, and that's because we will be focusing on the near-term projects and initiatives. It will optimizing core service with the return of the 7th daily round trip, with improved scheduling and on-time performance, and planning and delivering the near-term expansions, enhancing throughway bus efficiency and connectivity through studies, partnership, improved interagency coordination with Caltrans, Host Railroad, High-Speed Rail, and other partner agencies. The High-Speed Rail Authority is also in the process of drafting their annual business plan, and that will be released in early February this year. So the authority staff are coordinating with High-Speed Rail staff to make sure that our draft annual business plan is in alignment and is consistent with their annual business plan. Other areas to really highlight is the equipment chapter will be updated to include the state's inner-city rail zero emission fleet transition strategy, bi-level cars overhaul and modernization strategy, mini high platform project initiations, and the wreck repair process for gold runner equipment. We have also established the new budget request forms and project implementation plan submission requirements. And this is really for us to justify the funding request and to assign priority to projects that demonstrate alignment with the UPS, and then also our agency's vision, mission, and values. As I stated earlier, I'll come back with my team in March at the March board meeting, and then we will present and provide more details of the official draft of the annual business plan for your review and approval. At this time, this is just an information item only, and there is no fiscal impact, and I will be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Momo. Any questions for Momo at this time? I have a question, Momo, or a comment. So I just came back from Sacramento yesterday, and we were there for our rural counties meeting. And so we got done early. So we walked over to the League of California Cities meeting, and High Speed Rail was making a presentation. And they were making a presentation to all of the cities in California. And if we have conversation or we can talk to them, I would ask that they narrow it down between these meetings and talk to the actual people that are trying to get high speed rail to their communities, just at Livingston, and start a good conversation or start a line of communication with the council members that are on now. I know it's been 16 years of my experience working with high speed rail, and it's really a full-time job because they turn over staff so much, and it's hard to get a handle on what they're doing. And you read in the paper one thing and you're hearing another thing. So if we do have a conversation, maybe we should invite them to the Amtrak, to the Gold Runner meeting, and have them share their thoughts on where they're at and where they're going. I know it was really difficult for Kings County to get an idea of what they were actually doing. And so I can feel the frustration from Livingston and Merced and Madera, because it takes a full-time job and staff to follow along what's going on, and you need to be present. So if we could do anything to help our mayor in Livingston, I'd appreciate that.
Okay, will do. Thank you.
Anybody else?
No other directors online or in person.
Nobody? Okay.
We do have public comment for this item, in person. Again, we have Mr. Barnbaum.
Okay, yeah, we'll take public comment. Mike Barnbaum's there, so we'll let Mr. Barnbaum speak.
Yes, thank you, Chair Verboen and members and staff and audience. I've been taking some notes on this because this is going to be one of the key items that will come back, as Momo indicated, in the month of March, at a meeting location to be determined. But I did want to talk about some of the things I think the business plan will need to highlight. One which I mentioned that in the previous comments, where people were commenting on Facebook, and needs to be addressed in a pretty big way, is the topic of the food service. And having an executive director now on staff with experience on business class in the market side cafe, I think is going to be a plus in this business plan going forward. One thing staff really noticed on me coming in, and I think this should be part of the business plan, marketing and merchandise. I don't know if many of you know, but railgoods.com coordinates merchandise with BART and the Capital Corridor Joint Powers Authority. So if I just step over for just a minute, you could see this train bells ring, ugly sweater for the winter season.
Oh my, come on,
This was on the Amtrak store because Capital Corridor didn't have any, and I wasn't going to wear a BART sweater from Sacramento County going to their sweater fest at Rockridge back in December. So one idea might be, as I heard, develop a store and perhaps have one of these with the Gold Runner on it. Great idea for the business plan. Thank you to the staff that have talked to me about that. Let's also talk about in the business plan the service expansion for the 8th and 9th round trips, schedule coordination, focusing on what we call in the industry the pulse schedule. I could go into more of that a little bit later. And then throughway bus expansion and service providers. Where can we coordinate with public transit agencies where it is open to the public, similar to the Senate bill that was done in California a few years ago by Senator Ben Allen. RABA is going to be operating the Salmon Runner soon, if they aren't already, on Route 5X between Redding and downtown Sacramento. But there's also a throughway bus that Amtrak provides that could be expanded, Route 10. more frequencies to Southern Nevada. So people can get away from the crowded skies of Harry Reid McCarran International Airport and use the Gold Runner connecting services instead at Bakersfield. So just some options to consider, but yeah, let's have more of a robust discussion on this in March. And my intent would be maybe Hanford due to construction here in Stockton. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Barbaugh. Who's next?
And that is all we have for public comment.
That is all. Okay, thank you. We'll move on now to item number 6, on-time performance and Gold Runner service updates. And we have presentation by Nathan and Jordan. Good morning.
Morning. So before we dive into the numbers for Q2, I wanted to kind of refresh your memories on some of the challenges that we faced throughout Q1 that we talked about previously. You may recall that our host railroad, BNSF, had a couple of large tie replacement projects that took place both in July and September. September was the larger of the two projects, and that affected a 50-mile stretch of track between Bakersfield and Fresno. And that's what accounted for the poor performance that you see there, the very low number in September of 27%, as the daily speed restrictions related to that project really affected all of our trains through that area. In addition to that, you may recall that we've talked about in the months coming up to Q1, working on transitioning the maintenance of the Northern California fleet from Amtrak over to TASI. Now, in the months preceding Q1, we had started to experience an increasing amount of mechanical failures to our locomotives en route and canceled trains throughout the service. When TASI fully took over the maintenance of the locomotives on August 1st, we started to get a better picture of the amount of deferred maintenance that we had within the fleet. And then throughout the month of August, we experienced an increasing amount of locomotive failures and cancellations of trains as a result as well. Because of that, we decided to cancel one of our round trips for the entire month of September. And that was to give a better experience to the passengers without having to cancel as many trains, and then to give TASI some additional breathing room to work on some of that equipment without it being in service. All of this led to a very low overall performance for Q1, an average of 43% on that performance for the quarter. So how do we do in Q2? Well, if you take a look at the chart here, the gold bars representing this year's first 2 quarters, you can see that in October, we experienced an immediate spike from where we were in September, bumping up almost 40 points to 66%. Reliability was pretty consistent throughout the quarter in that mid-60 range, dropping just a bit in November and then back up to 64% for December, for an average of 64% over the quarter. That was a 21% increase over where we were in Q1. And while we do welcome the increase, that's certainly not the level of service that we were looking to provide for our passengers. As you can see in the previous year, service was at a much higher consistent level. Our goal for the service is 83%. And we think that's a reasonable goal given the challenges that we face over the long distance that our service travels. And throughout Q1 and Q2 of the previous fiscal year, we were pretty consistently close to that mark. So we know that it's possible. The primary driver of the lower performance in Q2 were those mechanical issues that I alluded to that we started facing prior to Q1. To give you a little bit of a feeling of how the magnitude of those issues, throughout Q2, we had over 101 hours of mechanical related delays across the service. And those kind of increased as the quarter went along. In October, we had a little over 1,000 minutes of delay related to mechanical issues. In November, that spiked up to over 2,000 minutes. And then in December, we reached nearly 3,000 minutes of delay related to these issues. I'll get back to the mechanical issues in just a moment, but it wasn't all bad news in December. We did have some bright spots. As you know, we've been working for some time now to introduce a schedule change that would bring back the 7th round trip, which is an additional trip between Sacramento and Bakersfield, trains 701 and 704. We did do that on December 8th. The train 701 departs Bakersfield at 7 a.m. and gets into Sacramento just after 12:30 p.m. And then train 704 departs Sacramento at about 5:20 p.m. and gets into Bakersfield just before 11 p.m. And I know some of you were there for that inaugural trip of 701 into Sacramento. So we're very pleased to provide an additional option for passengers to travel in and out of Sacramento. In addition to this 7th round trip, some of the other things we were looking to accomplish with the schedule change was to adjust for some of the known conflicts that we have with our host railroads, freight trains. And the primary example of this is train 702. Train 702 previously departed Sacramento about 6:30 a.m. and it always had a conflict with one of Union Pacific's high priority intermodal trains between Stockton and Lodi. In the previous 12 months before this schedule change, train 702 had an on-time performance average of 64%. However, on December 8th, But we did have that schedule change on December 8th, and through the rest of the month, said train 702 was only late 3 times. So I think out of 24 trips and achieved an on-time performance of 88%. So very significant bump, and I think that's a win for the service. And so additionally, on the days that we haven't had major mechanical issues or major incidents like trespasser strikes or vehicle strikes, the schedule has shown some resiliency, achieving between 80 and 100% on some of those days without those instances. So we think good things are on the horizon once these mechanical issues are sorted out. But getting back to that subject, to walk you through some of the things we experienced in December. Throughout the month of December, we had over 11 different instances of mechanical delays that lasted for over an hour. So these are what we refer to as more of our catastrophic delays. And when we have these types of delays, it really has a domino effect or a cascading effect across the entire service, as not only those trains are delayed, but usually in those situations, we have to rescue those trains with one of our other trains. And they are then subsequently delayed by a couple of hours. And then that dominoes throughout the rest of the day in creating delays for the service. And sometimes that even carries over into the next day as well with late equipment turns. So given the spike in delays in the month of December, we did make the decision to cancel a round trip again, starting on January 5th. We canceled one of the trips between Oakland and Bakersfield. We didn't want to cancel the trip that we just reintroduced. And so that will be for a period of 60 days again to give Kathy some room to work on some of this equipment. I'm going to hand it over to Jordan Reynolds, our Chief Mechanical Officer. He's going to walk through some of the things that we're working on to address this challenge.
Thank you, Nathan. Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, Directors. Jordan Reynolds. I'm the Chief Mechanical Officer for the Rail Commission. And this morning I'm going to go over, first starting with some of the history, where we're at, where we come from, and talk about where we're going to. As many know, August 1st, the TASI and SJJPA team took over maintenance, transitioned from Amtrak over to our services. At that point in time, there were 16 out of 23 state locomotives available for service. The other remaining locomotives, 7, were down out of service, with 3 of them in excess of over 2 years to begin the service. A lot of this is caused by deferred maintenance and the previous maintainer and mechanical failures, as well as the service expansion that has higher demands on the service and on the fleet. So going into some of the actions that we've taken, going into the State of Good Repair program, we have twofold with this. We have the locomotives and we have the passenger cars. On the locomotives, there's a lot of the initiatives we've been working on. It has been federally mandated inspections, catching up on maintenance, ensuring that it's safe and reliable for the passengers. We've listed some of these items here that have been going on. We've had 2 locomotive engine replacements on F-59s we're performing, and many other systems we're going into. This is just a short list of the high-level items to give you an idea of what we're looking at. The passenger cars as well, we began this process prior to the transition, working with Amtrak to try and catch up as many of these things and anything we could identify prior to the transition to hopefully get ahead of the game and ensure service and hopefully prevent interruptions to services. We did have some success with that. We had many of the items which were identified that would have been an issue. We corrected a lot of those and had strategies on how to correct the rest, and began planning for the locomotive failures that we were anticipating could be coming up. This shows a chart of the locomotive fleet availability and our recovery process. So right now we have service on the Gold Runner, some of the trains suspended in order to give TASI time and us to purchase materials and recover some of the fleet. We also understand that introducing the seventh round trip and then having these failures is not good for anyone, our passengers especially. So we want to make sure that our planning in this goes towards not only restoring enough service and having a protect or a spare locomotive to run, but that we ensure we have sufficient spares. So our target for this, as you can see from the slide, we need a minimum of 17 locomotives plus one, that being a protect unit to run service. That still doesn't keep us in a safe position. That we don't consider that to be reliable. And so our target is to exceed that. And we have a plan to get there, to get up to 18 and then progress further in April and bring them back. Considering these locomotives have most been out of service for quite some time and we're having some extensive damage that we need to repair, these are some of the delays that we're seeing with this right now. So for our next steps and what we're doing, as more work comes on, you can't just add on staff. These are technical positions and we need to ensure that they're safe, trained, and qualified to work on the equipment. So TASI has been bringing in additional qualified locomotive service and specialty personnel and staff. We're bringing those in from around the country to help out with restoring the F-59s. We're also working very closely with the manufacturers as SJJPA on Cummins and Siemens to support the material, technical evaluations, and recovery plan to get these back into service. Our target is that we prevent catastrophic failures from occurring while ensuring services. And that's a very tricky balance because we have a lot of work ahead of us to get through these, but we're putting the team together to hopefully get all of this in place and provide back to you a report as to the recovery and prevention in future services in future months going through these. The state is also pursuing additional locomotive fleet for the inventory to help with this, but that won't be coming right around the corner. That will take some time for it to develop and to be brought in, but we're working very closely with them to see, and Amtrak, to see how we can accelerate this and how we can recover some of this. Caltrans has made progress on their F-59 overhaul program, and they're making their way through the system with the anticipated release of the package in this year, but that will require about 3 years to complete. So that doesn't get us out of the weeds. We still need to focus on this, and it's still going to take a large amount of attention in order to make it through this. So I'm hoping this provides an update to the board and to the staff as to what we have going on, and invite any questions you may have.
Thank you, Jordan. I have one question real quick, or a
Yes,
comment.
sir.
Adele is our lobbying person on the board. And so we'll be up there in March in Sacramento on our transportation lobbying trip to talk to our senators and our assembly people on where we need some funding. It might be a good time to put together and ask for some funding. I know we meet with Caltrans and we talk to Mr. Tokes, and they're always trying to say that they want to promote alternative modes of transportation. This might be a good time to get some funding for a couple more locomotives to promote what they're trying to do. So if Fidel can work on that, we'll be prepared in March when we come up there for our annual trip. And then also when we go to DC in September to try to find some funding. So that's all I have. And thank you for your report. Do we have any other?
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chair, if I might. So I'm trying to figure out the disconnect from the former maintenance, if it was a money issue, if it was a talent issue, and not, because Amtrak was responsible, obviously, for the locomotives, but why wasn't the maintenance being done to standard or to some standard?
I can't really speak for them, sir, based on their behalf. I do know one of the reasons we did not see this in the services and we did not see the interruptions in service and loss of trains was there were pretty continual supplements of locomotives from Amtrak's fleet, long distance fleet, used on our services. So while it appeared that there were enough fleet and that the fleet was in a condition that could operate the service reliably, there was use of long distance locomotives frequently in order to make service and make these commitments. Right now, we're still in the process of digging through maintenance records. Like I said, we're going back to Cummins to get all of their information that they have. They were contracted to on an individual basis to perform maintenance as requested, and those requests did not come into them.
And this is a pretty quick timeline for
Yes, sir.
April to get enough of the fleet. Are we being too optimistic?
We have a lot of weekends between now and then, sir.
So when I came on, Jordan and Brian and I sat down and went vehicle by vehicle basis through the whole list, looking at what repairs would be made, how long we thought that would take, if there was part needed, how long that part would take to be made. And so what you see in that slide isn't so much a projection, it's based on the actual vehicle level, look at how we get from here to there. The other topic that you mentioned in terms of like, how do we get into this situation? So we're very conscious of that. We've been working a lot with Capital Corridor, as you know, we share a fleet with them, and so they're experiencing the same service impacts that we're experiencing. And so our priority is to get the fleet back so that we can provide reliable service. But we certainly have an eye towards how do we get here and making sure that we set a process in place so we don't get here again.
I had a quick question. So you mentioned that there is a need for locomotive and engine specialists, and you're looking for people out of state, correct?
We're shaking the trees, ma'am. We are bringing in some. There's actually someone local that we've brought in and contracted, or Tassie has contracted with, and then Tassie is also flexing some of their resources from around the country for some of the older units.
And you know where I'm going with this. So what is needed in order to fill those positions? What thinking of track C, I mean, what is it that is?
Yes,
what
ma'am.
kind of skill set is needed for that?
So when we talk about having to bring in these contracted resources, it's because of the sheer volume of work we're having to do right now. We are still building up staff and working with Tassie. They're still, they're making incremental progress and increasing their staff to support all these services. We don't believe that they're understaffed at this time. That's not really the issue. The issue is the sheer volume of work is beyond the scope and scale that anyone understood when we took over. So that's one of the issues that we've had. Another unfortunate update that we had just prior to the meeting, so we didn't update the slides, is we lost another Charger locomotive engine. We're not sure it has a critical fault, which is not a good sign for us, given the condition of the maintenance on those. And our focus right now is to get service restored, but also to prevent catastrophic failures. These failures that we have and the issues that we're having to deal with now have a very high dollar figure. It goes 3 to 4 fold if we have the full engine fail, and longer lead times, processes to recover them, all of that. So we're working on efforts to recover the fleet. We're also working on efforts to bring more of this talent in-house so that we're affecting our budget. We're trying to keep our budget managed. We're trying to make sure that as we progress through things, the more you pay outside resources to do things, obviously there's a cost involved with that. So we're trying to work on programs right now directly with Tassie and the manufacturers to buff up our strength on working on some of these and doing more deep levels, which historically we're bringing contractors to do.
And if we could do more of that, because I think about, there is a business at the airport that has a government contract that they do the F-18s, all the fighter jets, they're doing the engines there, but they also have the parts, and they are a distribution center. So I don't know if that's something maybe we could bring to the region so that we're able to have people that maybe not only servicing ours, but servicing others, and then being able to distribute from there. So
We'll definitely look at that, ma'am. Absolutely. It's we are working with corporate Cummins right now, so that we bring in what's needed, and we try to flex their power as a large corporation for these engines as well. Thank you.
Chair, if I may, just to kind of pick up on that, obviously the magnitude of the work that you're talking about, we're digging ourselves out of a hole, unfortunately.
Yes, sir.
Masked because there was a larger fleet to be able to swap in and out. But Siemens is just up the rail, and so you did mention in one of the slides that
yes, sir.
Whatever we can do to leverage that relationship, given that they build these things from scratch. When you're talking about swapping out an engine and a locomotive, that's no small feat. And then the last thing that I would say, and I'm not telling you anything you don't already know, but obviously those disruptions that happen when trains get stranded when they're in use. To the extent we can focus on that and make sure that something is rail worthy before it gets turned out. Obviously, I'm right. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yeah, and just to comment on that, the second one first. Our priority right now is to identify potential failures and prevent those from stranding passengers. We feel the same way. It doesn't serve the public to bring them away from their home or their destination and then strand them. So we are doing that. We are working directly with Siemens, myself, and one of our employees that is working in Oakland. We're at Siemens. We were on the development for the charger, so we're reaching back in to get all the expert help that we can, and hopefully we get ourselves on a good path here very soon.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Any further questions?
Seeing no other questions from the board, we do have a member of the public with their hand raised. And Mars Navabi, I will allow to speak, and you have 3 minutes.
Great, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. The presentation mentioned how trains 713 and 714 were canceled until March 6th. Thus, it's even more urgent now for the JPA to adjust the bus trips so travelers have the connections they need. I mentioned this need to Supervisor Hume at a Sacramento Regional Transit Board meeting and also at the previous JPA meeting. Here are some trips at which the JPA could add stops at Burbank on existing trips without harming travelers connecting to trains in LA. Bus 5702 departs Bakersfield, stops in Glendale, and terminates in LA. At the same time, bus 5802 departs Bakersfield and goes directly to LA. Because 5802 is reserved for connecting passengers, 5702 could stop at Burbank without affecting them. Likewise, bus 5716 departs from Bakersfield, stops in Glendale, and terminates in LA. There are no Amtrak or Metrolink trains that depart from Glendale or LA at those times, so those would not affect connecting passengers as well. Similarly, with bus 5717 and 5817, 5717 stops in Glendale, 5817 goes directly to LA. So bus 5717 could stop in Burbank without affecting connecting passengers. Prompt action by the JPA to add these bus stops would help travelers, especially given the 2-month cancellation of train 713 and 714. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have any other questions in the audience?
Thank you. We have one more online, Robert Dialina. I will allow to speak now.
Hi, sorry, I joined the meeting midstream and it just wasn't clear to me which item we were on currently. I did want to comment on item 5 and I don't know if we're there yet or not.
You can go ahead and comment on item 5, it'd be fine.
Okay. I saw in the agenda there was mention of, high-speed rail and their, aligning with their business plan. It's looking more and more like, based on recent conversations, that station that was originally projected to be downtown is likely to be shifted to South Merced. And so my commentary is just that I'd like to see the proposed connections that had been talked about between the different rail systems. If it does move to South Merced, I'd like to see us connect, if we can, to that South Merced station, even though it would be an extra, 4 miles of travel. And that was basically all of my commentary.
Thanks, sir. Anybody else?
Seeing no others online or in person.
Okay, as long as we get everybody covered, we're good, right?
Yep.
Okay, we'll go to board member comments at this time. Do we have any board members that like to share any other thoughts?
Yes. Can I go ahead?
Yes, go ahead.
Great. I just wanted to report that yesterday I'm trying to pull up my notes while I'm here on my computer. I attended the last meeting of the ad hoc Antioch train station working group. That was a group of folks from the city of Antioch, um, community members, and folks really representing rail. I want to say that it was an experience that I'm really grateful for, because what I found was that when we all sat down and talked, a lot of things could happen. And so I just wanted to kind of um, give Antioch a shout out for investing in a station that they know is slotted for decommission as Oakley moves along. But they put the money in to make it a safer place, a more welcoming place. And so far, the results have been what we were hoping for. I also uh, was able to hear from them that the investment into the downtown station has also had positive effects on the downtown area. So I just wanted to give some good news. Everyone from the community representatives to the city representatives to rail were very pleased, and I just wanted to report that out. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Burgess. I know that's my experience when going there last meeting or meeting, and whenever we had a meeting there, it had really changed over the years. So I'm glad to see that happen. I don't know what we're going to do. We told them we're going to drop the station, but now it looks like it's going to be fit everything we asked for. So it might be a difficult choice here coming up soon.
Well, I think they're going to continue to work on options with BNSF, but they're very aware that at this time, once the Oakley station's built within so many, I think it's 2 weeks. Tamika, you can correct me if I'm wrong. That station does get decommissioned. But who knows, with efforts that I'd like to bring in the future of, maybe building up ridership in that area, maybe we'll be able to do something.
Very good. Appreciate that. Any other board members?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yes, sir.
I'd just like to express my condolences to the people in Spain affected by the rail accidents that happened over there. Having just been in Spain, I rode the regional rail, I rode high-speed rail, I rode the local transit, and although my experience was flawless, obviously it was a severe tragedy when it's happened. On a lighter note, though, I will say that we left our car in Sacramento and took our sister corridor, transferred over to BART, and had wonderful seamless service to the front door of the SFO. So highly encourage that for anybody who's traveling abroad.
Very good. I know that when we were trying to make high-speed rail accountable back about 15 years ago for 9 years, my friends that would go over to Europe that were against high-speed rail were coming back saying, "Hey, we got to get this done." So it's a good experience to have to share with our community.
Mr. Chair, I just wanted to address a few things that were said at the beginning of the meeting. And I know Member Human addressed it. I want the public to know, and this is going back to Mayor Moran's comments. And I want everyone to realize that the San Joaquin Joint Powers Authority and the San Joaquin Regional Rail Division work in conjunction with each other. And that's what's going to make us so successful. And along with high-speed rail, trying to integrate with high-speed rail. A few years ago, there was a stations committee put together, stations development committee for that, just that purpose, but it kind of morphed into something else. There are 2 members of the San Joaquin Joint Powers Authority, which are Member Hume and myself, and from the Regional Rail Commission, Member Craig and Member Zuber. And so we've been, for many years, it's gotten into real detail. It is extremely complicated negotiating with host railroads, looking at cost projects. They're all moving targets, and we came up with some recommendations for the boards. And I think that's where the information is getting out. I don't want people to get ahead and speculate. I think we'll end up having meetings either from COGS in the communities to have a better understanding because no one's being left behind, but there's just prioritization that is being done. And that's based on a whole host of issues. So we will be getting out in the community and talking with it about the challenges, because there are some challenges ahead, but at no fault of anyone specifically. It's just an accumulation of issues. So I want people to feel assured, and I see that Council Member Upal is still on from Livingston, another member who actually works in Stanislaus County. And I want to assure everyone that the information will get out fairly soon. We're putting it together. Thank you, Chair.
Very good, Vito. Thank you. Anybody else?
Seeing no others.
Pardon me?
Seeing no others online or in person.
Okay, we'll go to item 8, which is our new CEO report. Chris Orlando, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you very much, Chair. I have a couple items, but first I just wanted to express how excited I am to be here. Really looking forward to working with the board. Staff, want to thank the staff very much, not only for an incredibly warm welcome and keeping me well prepared with a fire hose of information over the last 2 weeks, so thank you for that. But also for just the steady hand over the last several months guiding the agency. David and Perry and the team have done a fantastic job, just keeping their eyes focused and straightforward and keeping things going. So really want to thank them. I'm working my way around to make sure I sit down with each board member. So we haven't talked yet. I'll be reaching out and scheduling time soon. So very happy to be here. A couple items I just wanted to mention. First, Tamika Payne reminded me that Mayor, Tazzy did hire 2 folks through Track C in the mechanical program. So that is a good pipeline for us. So as the folks come through that program, it is a good way for us to supplement staff. So that's something we're working on. And then a second point is just to celebrate the opening of Route 40, the new freeway bus line. We included that in our business plan. Happy to announce it launched on January 5th. It's connecting the freeway bus from Merced to San Jose. So that's great. We'll be out doing a formal ribbon cutting on February 4th. So if you've not gotten an invitation yet, you will. So we're looking forward to working with the chamber there to host that event in Merced. So love to have you there if you're to join. But other than that, happy to be here and look forward to working with all of you. Welcome.
Thank you, Chris. We appreciate you being here and appreciate your new, or at least looking forward to working with you in the future and making a difference here. Okay, if we have no other comments, I look forward to seeing everybody in Hanford at our new board meeting room in our cart bus intermodal transportation center on the 20th, and we'll try to get some ice cream or at least get a ride over to the ice cream parlor to get ice cream for everybody that day. So looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
So
moved. I'll second.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye,
Sorry I couldn't be there in person